yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Born and dead, saved by love, count my blessing from above. Though in darkness, have no fear. Light will shine on those old and near. They know that sorrow they will pass. For I know in this life there will be something. But remember that love, yes it will. Love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Yeah. In my heart, I believe it. Love will reign. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Have a vision. It's clear and plain. People living life, smiling again. Oh, see the children, they know no pain. Far from pressure, stress and strain. Oh, sorrow, they will pass. For I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But remember that love, yes it will. I know. Yeah. Love will reign. Gotta believe it. In my heart, I truly believe. Sun will shine again, and love, I can hardly wait. In the light of love, we'll all be together. There'll be peace, peace, sweet peace. There'll be peace, happiness and joy forever. Oh, yeah. One day, someday, pain will be over and love will reign. They won't last, for I know in this life there's gonna be some pain. But in the end, love will reign. Yeah. Love will reign. Said in His word, weeping may endure the night. Love will conquer all. Love will win the fight. So don't be discouraged. Don't be dismayed. Darkest hour just before the hate will be crushed, fear will be gone, love will remain and go on and on. Blow the roses from my friend, we know how the journey ends. Oh, yeah. La, 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 la. La, la, la. La, la, la. Oh, oh.
Love will reign. I'm excited to be here on this Tuesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Marcus Holmes, the HR Passion Guy. I'm the love activist. That's who I am. And I am advocating for better love for you and I. And so that love may be your relationship with husband, wife, boo, bae, parent, child, friend. We all should have rewarding, rich relationships in our lives, and I want to help you to get on that path, not as an HR or loveologist, but just as a love activist, so that you will experience the kind of love that we both know you deserve in this life. So take a moment, whether you're watching us here live on Facebook, on the Marcus R. Holmes page, or the Love and Stuff community page from which we emanate, or if you want to shout out on YouTube or Twitch TV or Instagram Live or TikTok Live. I hope that you will click share, tag 5 of your closest friends, connections, subscribers, or followers, 5 of the more popular ones, to join in tonight's discussion as we return again to the inbox. And just before we get there, I want you to know that although we are in a crazy world, love hasn't given up on you. I know you've seen that tirade that has happened in the Oval Office, and I want to encourage you to continue to raise your voices with love for the love of justice. And as we're in a brand new month, I invite you to join us in the Love and Stuff community on the journey of self-care by going to the Love and Stuff community page, clicking groups, and clicking join inside Love and Stuff. There are some amazing people there who are on an amazing journey. And this month they're getting fit. They're marching into fitness. And I hope that if that's a focus for you, you will join us there, and you'll hear more about that if you go and join us inside Love and Stuff. And finally, we want to shout out, and certainly not least, to all of the women. We realize that Love and Stuff is 77% women, 23% men. Shout out to the brothers that are in and around Love and Stuff. But it's Women's Month, and we want to shout out the amazing contributions of women worldwide, United States, and in the city near you. So give some likes and loves and shouts out for those amazing, spectacular women. All right. I want to go, just before I pin the topic, I'm going to pin the topic in a couple places so that you can be able to, let's see, is it going to let me pin it there? Okay, I'm pinning the topic there. Hopefully you can see it across platforms. Thank you for joining, Caleb Alexander. Those of you that are joining on other platforms, shout out in the comments so that I can see you, because if you don't say anything in some platforms, I can't see you. Though we're trying to bring you all through Restream Live. But I want to just on a couple places put the topic so that you will be able to, yep, I believe that's the topic there. All right. I'm going to pin the topic in a few places. Oh, I think it's pinned in a couple places, so I'm going to pin it there. All right. Hopefully you can see that across other platforms. Let me know if you're seeing the topic. And we're going to go right into the topic. Tonight is an interesting topic, and it's around dating, chivalry maybe, and CashApp. Oh my. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that, plus some tips that we'll have for the person from our inbox. I just want you to know we thank you so much for dropping topics and ideas in the inbox. And you can remain anonymous. You don't have to attach your name to it. And even if you send it in the inbox and I know who you are, I will, as an honored, I hope, HR professional, maintain your confidentiality and anonymity, because what we love about the inbox is that we're able to bring topics forward and have group think on these topics. And now some people will be sharing their opinions, some people will be sharing their experience, some people will be sharing their expertise, and it will be up to you to synthesize that information and apply it to your own love situation. That's what we think is the beauty of this time, is that there might be situations that you might deal with or be contending with, and some of the advice, some of the counsel might be relevant to you so that you can up your love game. So I hope you will take a moment to do just that and up your love game. I'm going to read it once from here. I think I can read it from there. And I'm just jumping back to Thomas Grady has joined us and others on TikTok. Those of you that are joining on other platforms, just drop your name in the comments and where you're from so that we can say hello to you. It would be my pleasure to welcome you to Love and Stuff. From the inbox, she writes, "Hi, Marcus. I met a guy online, and for once, he wasn't a catfish. I'm interested in talking to those of you who've experienced catfish online. Handsome, she writes, charming and attentive. Everything seemed perfect. We talked for weeks, then finally met for coffee. He was just as amazing in person. Then he planned a full-blown date, dinner, a movie premiere, and a comedy show. I had an incredible time. When the bill came, I offered to pay half, but he shut that down fast, almost like he was offended. This is the dinner bill. We flirted all night, but nothing happened, and I went home solo. The next morning, I woke up to a CashApp request for half of the bill. Then I got his text. Hey, this is his text to her. I hope you slept well. Alone. Me too. It was my pleasure to pay, but since we have been dating for months now, it's time for equal something. Fair exchange is no robbery. Marcus, is this man seriously saying I owe him something? Should I respond or just block and move on? So I want to hear from you. I thought in Ernest Pedigree, it was an interesting topic to bring forward because there is so much conversation, I think, around who pays, what that paying means. Is that chivalrous for the man to pay on the first official date? Is a first official date more than coffee? What constitutes that first official date? And whether or not this man was signaling to her that he thought he should get something, ladies, in return. Should he have received something from her in return? And if so, fellas, I want you to chime in. Ladies, I want you to chime in. What is that something that he might have been expecting? And should he have been expecting their time together? Now, she said that they were, and I had some conversation with her, that they had been online for weeks before they started having coffee, but they had more than one coffee date. Okay. So from his estimation, and she said, based on the text, because I thought there might be some discrepancy, that it had been a couple of months since they've been in this relationship or in this situationship, because they had not uniquely defined it as exclusive, dating, whatever, which again, to me, for two people who are looking for something long-term, I typically advise women, as a life coach in general, that if a man tells you he's interested in long-term, but he doesn't make long-term moves with you, he is probably determined, A, you're not the one, or B, he's not sure, which might mean C, you're not the one. Most men that are looking for something long-term make a decision pretty quickly when they found what they're looking for. And they start to make long-term moves and gestures and behaviors versus pause. Pause means there is something that gives them concern for whatever the reason, okay? That's a piece of advice that I would say to you universally. Of course, there are nuances with any piece of advice, but in general, if two people say and mean that they're looking for something long-term, when they find it, they start to make long-term moves. So if you are in a relationship with someone who says they're looking for something long-term, but they haven't made long-term moves, you might not be the one, or there is some flag, red or yellow, that they have related to you. All right. I want you to be clear on that. And so if you're just joining, like TT is joining, and thank you for sharing, Benjamin Carr is joining, I want you to take a moment and click share. And I want to rehearse that topic one more time for you, though it is pinned across most platforms. I see a couple of platforms where it doesn't appear to be pinned, and I'm not exactly sure what's happening. But I see it on Facebook. I don't see it on TikTok. I don't see it on Instagram. And I don't see it on, I don't see it. I see it. I do see it on YouTube. Okay. My folks over at Instagram, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. So I'm going to give it a chance to circulate over there. And if I don't, I'll try to pin it over there somehow. Okay. Here's the topic. Hi, Marcus, she writes from the inbox. I met a guy online, and for once, he wasn't a catfish. Handsome, charming, and attentive. Everything seemed perfect. Those were important things to her. Okay. We talked for weeks, then finally met for coffee. He was just as amazing in person, she says. Then he planned a full-blown date, she says. Dinner, a movie premiere, and a comedy show. So almost an entire night, if you ask me. I had an incredible time, she says. When the bill came, I offered to pay half. This was the dinner bill, but he shut that down fast, almost like he was offended. We flirted all night, she says, but nothing happened, and I went home solo. So she was open to something happening. Okay. The next morning, and that something I don't think she went into a lot of detail of what the something was, but she thought that there was definitely chemistry and there might be something. Okay. The next morning, I woke up to a CashApp request for half the bill. Then I got this text. He texts her this. Hey, I hope you slept well. Alone. Me too. It was my pleasure to pay, but since we have been dating for a month now, it's time for equal something. Fair exchange is no robbery. Marcus, is this man seriously saying I owe him something? Should I respond or just block and move on? So I want to hear from you, Gardner, others. What do you think? Should she just block and move on? Or should she respond to this text? And if she responds, what should she say? That's what I want to hear from you. And while I'm doing that, I just want to encourage you to support our Love and Stuff brand. Before we do that, I want you to consider Powerful Money Tools, LLC. Christina, the money coach, is a partner to the Love and Stuff community. Here's a little bit about Powerful Money Tools, LLC.
Welcome to Powerful Money Tools, LLC. At Powerful Money Tools, we are here to prepare for your future. We want to talk about financial freedom. Financial freedom is budgeting, credit building, and also financial education. So once again, welcome to Powerful Money Tools, LLC. We can't wait to help you in your financial future.
That's right. We can't wait to help you in your financial future. And that's Christina, the money coach. She's available across all platforms. Christina Smith is her name. She's a partner to us here in the Love and Stuff community, and we thank her for her support. Jeff Johnston and others, click share and tag someone to join us. What would you do if you had gone out on an amazing date with someone you met online who seemed to be exactly who they say they were in person? And you had dinner, went to a movie premiere, went to a comedy show, enjoyed each other, flirted, talked, laughed, ate well, they paid for dinner. But the next morning, they send you a Cash App request for one half of the expenses of the night. How would you respond to them when they text you and said, fair exchange is no robbery? What would you do if you were sent a Cash App request for one half of the date the day before? Is Chivalry dead? Is this dating? Chivalry, Cash App, oh my? What would you do and how would you handle it? I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining Bruce on TikTok and others that are joining. Just drop in the comments and say, hey, so we'll know where you're from and we can shout you out. But I'm interested to hear from you. How would you handle that? Would you say, whoa, that's kind of crazy? How would you handle that? How would you deal with that? I'm interested to hear from you. And the topic is pinned right there. All right. Plus, I want to share with you some things that I shared in the inbox, some tips and how you might consider responding. And I don't know if it's just about chivalry. because in this day and time, there are different expectations around dating, which always boils down to communication. But of the things I do want to share with you, number one, entitlement. Who owes what in dating? Who owes what in dating? So this fair exchange fallacy. It's interesting to note that she was willing to pay. And I asked her, is that something that she always offers? And she said, no, she offers it once she gets to really know somebody to see how serious they are about connecting, which I think is a great rule. But I want to ask you, when did dating become an invoice system? If someone plans a date and insists on paying, does that give them the right to later demand reimbursement or something else? Do you think that maybe something else was being demanded, or because something else didn't happen, it changed the tide? I asked her that, and she thought that because she didn't make certain advances, she just flirted, that he was less than comfortable making additional advances. Now, I'd be honest, if that were the case, which almost never is the case, as I talk in Love and Stuff all the time, if I'm going on an initial date, something that's important to me is, can you kiss? And will you kiss on the first date? Some people say that is absolutely out of order. I would smack you. Someone told me that I would smack you. I said, smack me. Because if you cannot kiss, if your affection level doesn't match with mine, there is no need for us to go any farther. Now, that's just my rule. Some people say you can't have certain conversations on the first date. There are certain conversations that I'm going to have on the first date, right? And there are certain conversations that people say you should never have on the first date. And so that's nuanced. It's to each its own. But for me, I need to find out a certain level of investment in the beginning, not a sexual investment, not what is characterized as an intimate one, because I don't think that kissing at a certain level is that level of intimacy, and a lot of people do. I get it. But it isn't taking you to a again, unless she feels uncomfortable, it's not taking you to a level of you're crossing a line. Now, there are some people that would absolutely not kiss on the first date, and they would know that we weren't going on a date, because before we get to the date, I'm gonna say, if you're beautiful and I feel chemistry, I'm gonna kiss you. And what you gonna do? And if you say, well, I'm not going on a date, then that's that, right? Everybody has a boundary, I guess is what I'm saying. But going on the first date, when you are inviting a woman, fellas or ladies, if you invite the man, should you expect to pay? And I asked this to a group of people in the inbox, and they say, you should be expecting to pay something. Now, I don't know if I agree in exchange for the other person paying, you should give this or that. I think any type of giving, especially as it relates to a level of physical, sexual interaction, requires consensual, right? It requires consent. So I want to be clear there. But I don't think that it should be a response to me paying for dinner that you're going to have sex, or me paying for dinner that you're going to do whatever, right? But the person that invites the other person on a date should be prepared to pay. So ladies, even if you invite him on a date, you say, oh, I hear the OJs are in town. I don't know what kind of music y'all listen to. I hear Martha Reeves is in town. I'm just throwing out names. I hear Coco is in town. I hear Kendrick Lamar is in town. And there's going to be some comedy at the comedy club with Deion Cole. Ladies, if you invite a man to that and he doesn't say, oh, okay, I got the tickets, or I got this, do you have that? If you want to work out some plan, then you should be prepared to pay because you offered the date. Okay? Now, there is a way to offer a date without offering it. It's being assertive and not aggressive to say, oh, I love Deion Cole. For a guy to say, oh, you want to go see him? Well, I'd be open to it. Are you inviting me? That's the way you can turn the tables, right? But if you say to him, I want to go see Deion Cole, I want to do this, I want to do that, and you all are just forming a relationship, forming interactions, you should be prepared to pay, and at least be prepared to pay your own way. I've always told Autumn, I don't care even if he can pay. You be prepared to pay in case some kind of knucklehead means I got to come or will send the Calgary for you. But if you invite them, you should be prepared to pay. Fellas, generally it's expected that you will pay for the first date and second and third and fourth and fifth, particularly if you're making the invitation, right? In that regard, across many cultures, the expectation is for the man, the brother, I was going to say, the gentleman to pay, okay? But it's a conversation so that you don't come into a situation where you're sitting at the table and wondering, okay, is he going to pull out his card? Okay, is I'm going to pull out mine? That's a conversation you should have in advance about what's going to happen when you get to these various stops. Thinking about dinner at a nice restaurant, thinking about tickets, good tickets at a movie premiere, thinking about the comedy show, which probably would cost a little bit more than the movie premiere could, right? You could easily spend hundreds of dollars. You could spend $100 depending on how, if you're going to Applebee's, right? But you could spend hundreds of dollars, and there should be some conversation about the expectation for who pays, who tips, who valet parks, those types of things. If the person that is inviting the person expects them to be involved, okay? And dating in general, unless it's long-term dating in general is about generosity and connection, not transactions. Now, there are tons of people who date for a meal, tons of people who date for sex, and that has become a transaction. But out of the generosity of your heart and out of the power and strength of the connection, you should find pleasure in the presence of another enough to feel that you want to purchase, pay for, furnish certain items. Because when you begin to feel entitled to a return on an investment, are you really looking for a relationship, or is this really a business deal, a transaction? So you got to think about the fair exchange policy, number one, in this entitlement, who owes what in a dating, because the fair exchange fallacy might just be that. You might not have a right to or a demand to unless you've laid some groundwork, right? You should see this as an investment of your time and expecting out of the generosity of your heart and the strength of the connection to have the pleasure of that person's presence, right? Enjoying these different activities. And then, is there an unspoken rule of courtship? Do people feel entitled to specific outcomes based upon how much they spend? How much they spend? Do you expect if you spend over a certain number of dollars, fellas or ladies, that there should be something baked in the deal? Okay? These unspoken rules of courtship. I do this, you do that. Those are all entitlements. And when you are early on in dating someone, there shouldn't be entitlements. It should be, again, dating out of the generosity and curiosity around the strength of that connection, for the opportunity to have the pleasure of someone's presence. Should you pay for the pleasure? Someone has to pay for the activities, right? Unless you decide to do things that are free. But when you decide to do things that cost, it ought to be out of the generosity and curiosity. Not will she give up? Who is this person? Is this worth me getting to know this person better? How strong is the chemistry? How strong is the connection? Do I want to learn more about this person? So instead of feeling entitled, you should feel privileged, some pleasure in being in someone else's presence. Now, I know because there's a slant to how many men there are versus how many women there are, oftentimes men lead women to believe that they're the prize. I keep telling you, ladies, he is not the prize. He is great to have. He is a scarce commodity, but you are the prize. You're the prize every day, all day. It's just becoming that you don't know it. Okay? All right. Before we continue, I hope across platforms that you're clicking, sharing, tagging someone to join us in this discussion from the inbox. And I want to tell you a little bit more about one of our partners who had an amazing Galentine event. Her name is June Rochelle Eaton, and she is the proprietor of Detroit Couture, my dream dress bridal salon, and she has amazing fashions. I want you to hear a little bit from her.
Hi, my name is June Rochelle, and I own Detroit Couture. We are a fashion-forward women's boutique, and we offer friendly sizes from small all the way up to 3X women's sizes, very generously fit, very great quality. I actually have on one of our pieces today. It's called the Cuffed Up. It's in gray, burgundy, and black and olive, and it actually has a lot of stretch and give. So listen, in this time, we try to make sure that, first of all, it's quality and customer service that we offer our clients. And I'm so glad to have this opportunity to share with you. So go and visit us at DetroitCouture.com.
June is an amazing, amazing entrepreneur. And I want to encourage you to continue to buy and shop Black. I know we have all ethnicities and all races and all people of different creeds and colors in the Love and Stuff community. It is an amalgamation of amazing people across our world. But I want you to know that there is an attack on Black people and people of African origin in this country, in these United States. And until we stand up together, united, we will never have the level of power, economic power, socioeconomic power that we deserve. And so I strongly challenge and encourage you, inspire you, implore you even to shop Black, to buy Black. Black History Month has ended, but we are 365 Black. And June Rochelle Eaton, who is the proprietor of my Dream Dress Bridal Salon.com and Detroit Couture, has amazing fashions for you ladies, not just dresses that are one of a kind for your wedding, but dresses that are one of a kind for you to step out, look and feel, and be amazing. Check her out. Thank you, June, for your partnership. Jeanette Richardson has joined us on Facebook. She says, I agree with you. I'm so glad. And I want to hear more from you. And Jeanette, great to see you. I hope you will click share and tag some people to join in this conversation where this woman received a text after a wonderful night where the guy insisted on paying, this guy she met online. He said, hey, I hope you slept well alone. Me too. It was my pleasure to pay, but since we have been dating for months now, it's time for equal something. Fair exchange is no robbery. She said, Marcus, is this man seriously saying I owe him something? Should I respond or just block and move on? So I was talking about some of the components, I think. One of them is entitlement. And when we don't set good boundaries around what is expected, which speaks to people's entitlement, we sometimes get an end result that we had not anticipated or expected. So everyone comes from their own varying experiences and backgrounds and sometimes traumas. And sometimes people come into a situation with entitlement. They believe that they're entitled to certain things, right? Sometimes that's the defense mechanism that people built up because there is a spirit of oppression on people. There is a spirit of rejection on some people. And their defense mechanism is to act as if they deserve or are entitled to certain things. Have you ever seen somebody who you were like, how I'm trying to help you and just you're so ungrateful? Sometimes it's not really that they're ungrateful. It's not the fulcrum of the situation. It's not the core issue. It's that they feel a sense of entitlement, which is their defense mechanism because they have been rejected, because they've been oppressed. And rejected and oppressed people tend to have a mindset of not enough. They tend to have a mindset of scarcity. They tend to have what's called an impoverished mindset. Long before it manifests into their world, they say, I'm not worthy. I don't have enough. And so I got to clamor to get enough. I got to scramble to get it. I got to get what I can. And they get entitled around those things. It's like the crabs in the barrel. Oh, no, you're not going to get mine. It's like people trying to clamor after one TV in the sale. It's because this in their mind, they aren't entitled to get more. And so they set up this defense mechanism that they're entitled to certain things. If I've paid for the date, I'm entitled to sex. If I paid for the date, I'm entitled to half of it if the date doesn't go well or in the way that I want it to. That's a sense of entitlement, and dating should be based on generosity and curiosity. And that you want to explore that connection. Is it strong? Is it getting strong? Could it be stronger? Because you enjoy the pleasure of someone's presence. That's what dating should be. It shouldn't be an entitlement, a transaction. I get a free meal. I don't care how ugly you are, fellas. I don't care how broke you are. I'm going to spend your money. I'm going to get a free meal. That is not what dating. That's called using. Dating is that you are curious. You're exploring who this person is. You're finding pleasure in being in their company. And you're generous with your time and or resources to do so. All right. That's what that first thing that I wanted to share that I shared with the person in the inbox. The part of the equation is around entitlement. Who owes what in dating? The fair exchange fallacy that I just talked about, investment versus expectation, what I just summarized, and the unspoken rule or rules of courtship. Because you want specific outcomes, you will spend so much to get them. Okay, number 2 is expectations. What's your dating standard in 2025? You got to ask yourself that. D Green, thanks for joining. Is chivalry still a thing? Do you have a right to expect that, ladies? Many women appreciate a man who plans and pays for dates. But some men push back now with the ideal of equal partnership, equal payments. Is there a double standard, or is that just outdated thinking? Should the man plan and pay for the date? Again, I am of the mindset he absolutely should, especially the first date. But if the woman invites him out on the date and she doesn't solidify that she's only suggesting activities for the date, she should be prepared to pay for the date or at least to pay for half. So ladies, if you say, let's go here, let's do these things, you should be prepared to pay for those things unless you're able, as I said earlier, and if you want to really role play it out, inbox me. Unless you say to him, I really love comedy. And he says, well, which comedy show would you like to go to? Well, your pick. I'd love to go. You're putting it in his hands saying, hey, if we're going, it's on you, right? Absent that, if you say, hey, let's go to this show on this date, you should be prepared to pay and at least prepared to pay your part. Okay? Chivalry is still a thing. Joanne Clapp, thank you for joining us. Are we splitting or sticking to gender roles? Talking about expectations. Some say splitting the bill is normal. Zell me your part, right? It's progressive. Others say it ruins the romance. But what's the real expectation when it comes to dating finances? Well, that again, expectations are on what a part of a theory used to say, you can expect what you inspect. And I think that's an outdated theory. I think you can expect what you demand. When you create an environment that demands certain things in relationship, and I don't mean demand like this, but you create a certain standard, a certain expectation, people learn to live at that expectation or walk away from it. So you set expectations about, are there gender roles as it relates to finance early on in the relationship? Do those persist or continue as we deepen our relationship? And if they don't, you set those expectations as they pivot and shift. And for expectations. As we're often saying in the Love and Stuff community, communication is everything. If you expect her to contribute financially or something else, that's a conversation before you set the date, rather than a surprise Cash App request, which I think is kind of tacky afterwards. And if you're going to give her a Cash App request because she didn't give you any of the requests, brothers, it's not only tacky, it's distasteful as a man. Same for you ladies. You decide to take him out and you say, as one person in the inbox say, no D, no payment. That's distasteful unless you all have communicated expectations ahead of time to say, this is what we do. It's expectations. Number one, is chivalry dead? Number two, are we splitting or sticking to gender roles? Number three, communication is everything. All right. And we have one more, the economy of romance. Is it love or ledger balancing? I want to talk to you a little bit about. And just before we do that, thank you, Jeanette. She said true. Just before we do that, we want you to consider our Love and Stuff brand. We want you to love the brand, wear the brand, and live the brand. In the Love and Stuff community, we have many different items for purchase available, all to help people be reminded to up their love game and to encourage them to take action in this community of love, to give love to someone else. So we want you to consider wearing the brand, loving the brand, enjoying the brand. What you wear says something about you, about who you are, what you believe, and what you stand for. So here in the Love and Stuff community, we wear the brand that we live, and we live the brand that we wear because we love the brand. It's all about increasing the amount of love in the world and upping our love game. And if that's what you're about, you should wear it too. We live the brand we wear. We love the brand we wear. We love the brand. And if that's what you're about, you should consider joining us in loving, living, and wearing the brand as well. So just want to bring some of the brand items to your attention from the Love and Stuff community. Of course, our Love and Stuff t-shirt, brand t-shirt, is available in multicolors. This is the flagship brand. Our brand ambassador, actor Richard Dickey Mason, wears this on a number of sets. And it is all about all facets of love. And so we want to invite you to consider that. Or our gear, your love is front and center. Because we believe that, you know, we've come out of this Valentine's season, but we believe that Valentine's is a lifestyle. And it isn't one day a month. It isn't one day a week. It's the way you live through love. And if you want to flourish in love, your love must be front and center. You must wear your love where it can be seen. Now, there's some risk to that, right? There's a risk to wearing your love where it can be seen because you could be hurt. You could be impacted. But love requires a gamble. Love requires a risk. If you've ever been in love or are in love, you know there is a sacrifice to love. But if you want people to know that you're open to love, which I hope that you are, whatever area of your life you want more love in, you have to wear your love front and center. So that's what this whole idea around the love is front and center aspect of our love. Of course, we have our Love Over Racism t-shirt. We believe that the cost of love over racism, the equation equals equity. When we have achieved equity, we know that our world has put love over racism. And so we invite you to purchase that. All of these come in different sizes and different colors. Of course, our Gratefulness Journey Every Day, which is named after the book that I've authored, The Gratefulness Journey Every Day. What are you doing in the next 30 days to transform your life? And people like Sonia, Sharice, and others are on this gratefulness journey every day. It's 3 things you're grateful for, spoken aloud 3 times, said to yourself 3 times, and shared with 3 people. And once you do that for 30 days, you're on the gratefulness journey every day. And it will transform not only how you see things, it transforms your brain. It makes you more productive. It makes you more insightful. It makes you more empathetic. It makes you more able to absorb some of the shocks that happen in this world and bounce back, bounce forward, more resilient. That book is available. It chronicles parts of my personal journey through grief and loss and through turmoil and tumult that helped me to get on a path to being more grateful. And so I want to encourage you to consider the gratefulness journey every day. Of course, we have Love More, which was our theme last year. Our Love More 2024. Our Love is Alive 25 will be out shortly. You see that Love More. You'll see those same 25s in that. We also, I mentioned the gratefulness journey every day. We also have another book. It's loosely based on experiences from Sonia Charisse. It's All Shades of Girl, Color Me Beautiful. It is available now for little girls in your life and for their mothers, grandmothers, uncles, and aunts who want to read with them. It is a book about a young girl named Charisse who experiences colorism in school and who sees the effects of colorism in her home. And this book also has affirmation and figures and sketches that you can color along with that little girl so that we can help every little girl understand that they've been colored perfectly. They've been colored beautifully. It's available now. And there are t-shirts available that go along with that brand. The Color Me Beautiful t-shirt is available. The Color Me Beautiful Confidence long sleeve performance tee for adults. The Color Me Beautiful sweatshirts are available. And the Youth long sleeve performance competitor tee is available in multiple colors and sizes. And just also want to share with you, recently it was announced that I am one of the top U.S. mentors for Top Mate, which is a mentoring organization. And they have named me recently as one of their top U.S. mentors. So if you want some mentorship, you can always go to the Shopify or Stan store and learn more about one-on-one time with me as a certified coach and mentor. That's the code for the Stan store and all of the products around jobs and careers and becoming your best selves and productivity you will find there in the Stan store, ready to provide you what you need to go to your next level. All right. Back to our topic. I think I'm closing that down. Did I still have a top light up? All right. So those are top. Oh, thank you so much. The Gratefulness Journey every day is available online now. And if you want to transform your life, you want to change your life, I recommend this to anyone who is experiencing grief, anyone who is experiencing temperament issues, anyone who is experiencing sadness. And sadness could be just not happy with where your life is right now. If it has gone into depression, I want you to get clinical support. I am not a clinician. I want you to get therapeutic support. I am not a licensed therapist. If you are in depression, I want you to consider resources that are available to you. And if you don't know where to go, inbox me so that we can provide you those resources. But The Gratefulness Journey Every Day is a book that I've authored. And one such person who has used it, her spouse has used it, is MJ from Shahs of Sunset. Her husband used the practice of gratitude, the practice of gratefulness to help him with his temperament issues. And so I just want to share really quickly her being so kind to share this video. And I've shared it before and I'll continue to share it. Shahs of Sunset, of course, you know, was a popular Bravo show. And MJ was one of the stars of that show. Here she is.
Marcus, I want to congratulate you on Love and Stuff. I really want you to know that staying grateful and understanding the power of what it is to be operating out of a space of abundance and gratitude is the most important part of every journey of every day. So Marcus June, congratulations on this book. It's on Amazon now. That makes me so proud of you and your family and me and my family, and every single person around us gets it. So good on you for bringing it into the hands and the laps and the Kindles of all the people. Okay, so we're going to check it out. Can't wait to learn more.
And you can learn more by scanning the link. There's also inside of the book a scan for you to get a free copy of the journal. You can begin to journal about your journey through gratefulness, your journey of building the habit. I talk in the book, teach you how to build this habit, teach you how to look at your life as a gain, a blessing, a loss, or a lesson, and how to move forward from events that could keep you down, could keep you back, by using the power of gratefulness. So I encourage you to consider purchasing that book. It is available now, and I appreciate that. Well, we're going to get back into the topic before we close out. We're talking from the inbox where we see that, and thank you for joining. Thank you across all platforms. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you so much. Back to the topic where this young lady, and I didn't tell before, but she is 34 years old, 31 years old. And the boyfriend, 33 years old. The boyfriend is 35 years old, or the guy she was dating. And they met online. And what I love that she says is that he wasn't a catfish. I think when you meet people online, and I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, meeting people online. There are people that I met through Love and Stuff that I would have never met except for Love and Stuff, and I actually have met them in person. So I think it's good to meet people online and to size them up, to vet them, to see if they are who they say they are, which I think is a part of your first order of business when you're meeting somebody online, because we can build an amazing profile, but we might have a different persona. We might be living as a different person. So you need to find out if the person is truly single, if they're single in their eyes and single in their spouse's eyes, single in their ex's eyes and their baby daddy's eyes. You need to find out if a person is really gainfully employed at the place that they say they're employed, doing the things that they say they're employed doing, right? Or if they're unemployed, that they're being truthful about being unemployed. It could happen that you're meeting somebody who's between jobs. That could happen. Do they live in the city and state where they say that they live? Can you verify that without asking them for their license, right? So there are things you need to verify about that individual. But there are also expectations that you need to discuss with them around their entitlements and their the narrative that they're telling themselves about meeting you. You need to know, is this a transaction? And two adults can consent to a transaction. But one of them should not be thinking that it's about to be something transformative when in reality it's a transaction, right? So the two of you must come to reconcile your entitlements, to turn your entitlements down and raise up your expectations. Turn your entitlements down and raise up your expectations. What I mean by that is you may have told yourself a narrative that you're entitled to a man to spend his entire check on you because you deserve it. I want you to turn that down, because you're not entitled to anyone else's money. That's a transaction. A person who gives of their resources in generosity and curiosity because they want to connect with you is what you should expect, not be entitled to. You're not entitled. I'm entitled to J. Alexander's. You're not entitled to that any more than you're entitled to Applebee's, because neither one of those define who you are as a woman. You're as fine and foxy and sexy and great if you're sitting in Applebee's as you are in J. Alexander's. Sure, One has a brand reputation different than the other. Sure. One might have better fill in the blanks than the other, but it does not make you a more valuable person. And if it's a transaction, it just means that you're out for the highest bid. If someone's willing to pay Jay Alexander, it doesn't mean that you're more value. They place more value out of what they're getting out of you. So turn down the entitlements. Fellas, don't assume that because you have taken her to Ruth Chris, that she is going to open up the platter to the portals of good, because that is a transaction. You are to take her out of the generosity and curiosity of the strength of the connection. And if it is a transaction, you should be in an agreement before you meet for that transaction. If the two of you say we're going to dinner and then have sex, and the only way we're having sex is if we have dinner, and the only way we having dinner is if I can get sex at the end, if that is what the transaction is, I don't promote that as the transaction, but there needs to be an understanding that you're not entitled to anything that isn't agreed upon. That an expectation is set out of the bowels, if you will, of generosity and curiosity. You should be willing to go on a date with a woman to see, is she smart too, or is she just fine? Is she just bootylicious, or is she beautiful-licious? You should be curious. Something about the nature of that individual should make you want to learn more. And you, out of your generosity is where you should be pursuing that curiosity, not for the purposes of transactions, right? And then you set these expectations so that you both are clear, knowing that communication is everything, right? So we discussed those two areas. And then the third area that I discussed with this person who got a cash app the next morning and a text saying, hey, fair exchange is no robbery. I am sure that that brother cash tapped her because she didn't invite him in for sex. She didn't tell me that. He hasn't chimed in at all. But you wouldn't go back and say, oh, pay me half, unless that was the intent all along, or there was something that you didn't get from the transaction. Thank you, Cheryl, on TikTok. The economy of romance: love balancing or ledger balancing. Now, we know we're in the age of inflation. There are rising cost of living, and people are more sensitive about spending their money on someone that they're not sure about. So is fair exchange really just a cover for financial frustration? Here's what I want you to know. You don't have to go in this day and time for the high price date right away. You noticed that she said he took her for coffee. And what she didn't say, that I learned in the inbox, they had multiple coffee dates, which I think is appropriate if budget is a concern. Do you want to spend $250 on a woman who you're not even sure if that's her real hair? Ladies, do you want to spend $100 on a guy who you're not even sure if he's single? With a rising cost of living, don't spend all your money on people that you aren't sure about, that you're not really curious about exploring the strength of your connection. Now, don't let it be just the physical connection, okay? The strength of your commonality. Do you worship similarly? Do you work similarly? Do you have similar values and goals, right? Because money is scarce, right? So you don't want to just be throwing money out there, man or woman, without being more sure. Take less expensive dates. Coffee's great. A walk is great. A picnic is great. I know some people don't like that word. A lunch date at a park is great. Do things to get to know each other so that you are love balancing and not ledger balancing. You're not trying to say, okay, I got to up the ante on her. She took me here. Now I got to take it to this level. Spend time instead of always spending resources so you get to truly know the person that you're dealing with. Okay? Because Elsewise, dates are becoming the new business transaction, right? More and more people are treating dates like a negotiation. And you got to ask yourself that if you do that, if there's financial obligation tied to the experience and you have to up that each time, you got to give and balance to that, does that really cheapen the real connection? And if it does, pull out the transaction, pull out the financial obligation tied to the experience. Think about the deeper that you get into connecting with each other, that you think about sharing the expenses, that you disavow yourself of one-upping each other, and you find ways to connect that is going to be transformative to your life instead of transactional. Okay? And lastly, I want you to think about intentions versus investments. Because a good date should make both people feel valued. Both people feel inspired. Both people should have butterflies. Both people should feel giddy. But when money enters the group chat or enters the chat, as I heard someone say, doesn't that shift the focus from getting to know each other to getting a return on the investment? What am I going to get back for this that I spent? What am I going to get back? The experience that you have with someone should make you both feel valued. The intention versus the investment. These are the things that I shared with the person in the inbox, because I think what's important is if you decide to respond. And she says, and she shared, his text said, "Hey, I hope you slept well alone." Me too. "It was my pleasure to pay," he goes on. "But since we have been dating for months now, it's time for equal something. Fair exchange is no robbery." That's what he said to her. And what I say should be responded to him is, what if she decides to respond? When you say it's time for equal something, what is equal to the privilege of my presence and the pleasure of your presence that I enjoyed last night? What would be equal to that? Now, he may respond and say sex. And she might respond and say, if sex is what you think you paid for, you should probably buy it somewhere where you can get it cheaper, because to have it from me at cost would cost you more than you can pay. And then she should move on, remove him from connection in her profile on the dating app, and move along. I think he sent her a message by sending her the CashApp request, which I believe was very distasteful and maybe a little childish for a 35-year-old. Even though, brothers, I have to admit, a 35-year-old man is more like a 28, 29-year-old man emotionally, typically. And so maybe he intended to be sarcastic or intended to say, I should have got some. Here's what you do, brothers, if your intent is for a transaction, is that you at the beginning, in your window sign for what's on sale, you lay out the terms of that sale, and you allow that woman to say sale or hell, but you never go behind to be disrespectful to her by asking her to return for what you didn't get. If there was a transaction that you were supposed to get, you failed on the sale, Casanova, and you need to work on your sales game if that is what you intend. Your intentions are not an investment. Your intentions are what you expect to get out of the transaction as a return for your upfront payment. And if that is the terms by which you operate, you should be man enough to say that in the beginning. If that's your terms. And ladies, same for you. If you are doing something to get a return on it, you should be saying that up front. Anything less lacks integrity and should be a red flag to anyone that is dealing with you. No, if you are in a connection, you go into a date with the generosity of spirit and resources and the curiosity of both, because there is the potential for a strong connection that could lead to where you want to go. And in the activity or activities, you should derive pleasure by being in the presence of the other person. Everything outside of that has the propensity to be transactional only and could leave you empty. If your love is front and center and you want to experience something transformative, then you will pursue that connection and the pleasure that's derived out of that pursuit, out of the generosity and curiosity of your spirit. Nothing more, nothing less. And you have the right, when someone approaches you for a transaction and looks for remuneration afterwards, looks for repayment, recompense afterwards, because they don't feel you lived up to a deal that you never agreed to, it's best to close that off politely and tactfully and move on to what you really deserve. And that's someone who is generous and curious about their connection with you. I love this topic, and I hope that you will click share and tag some other persons, whether you're Kawisha watching on TikTok, or you're Jeanette on Facebook, or if you're on Instagram, if you are on Twitch TV, YouTube events, Vernita McGuire, others on Instagram, others that are joining us. I hope you will click share and tag 5 of your closest connections, followers, subscribers, or friends. 5 of the more popular ones to join in the conversation that we're talking about: dating, chivalry, CashApp. Oh my. I'm Marcus Holmes, the HR Passion Guy. I'm Marcus Holmes, the love activist. And tonight, I'm advocating for a better love for you and me. What love am I talking about? Well, what love do you want in your life? It could be the quintessential love. Do you know God is love? His very essence is love. And he willed you and I into existence to have love relationship with him. In fact, he says, love me with all you got. I'm paraphrasing. And then love your neighbor as you love yourself. Jesus said, on these 2 commandments hang all the laws and all the prophets, that you should love God with everything you got. Mind, body, soul, strength, everything you got. And your neighbor and your spouse and your children and your community and your coworker and your friends as you love yourself. So maybe your goal is self-love. You want to increase the love that you have for yourself. Do you love you? When's the last time you invested in loving yourself? When's the last time you intended to love yourself, right? Maybe that's the love that I'm advocating for you. Maybe I'm advocating for you to love God more and to pursue God more. Maybe I'm advocating for that love for your neighbor, for your boo, your bae, your husband, your wife, your parent, your sibling, your cousin, them. Maybe there's a love in your life that if it were just a little better, your world would be that much better. I want to remind you tonight that that love is within reach if you're willing to work on the love that you have for yourself that comes from and returns back to the quintessential love that is God. And that's what I'm advocating for, that you will experience a love that thrives in this year of 2025 in such a way that you become a magnet for those that are called to love you, and that you're a magnet for those that feel unlovable, that the grace of your love might be upon them as well, and that it might enrich your life And when your life is enriched, your home is enriched. When your home is enriched, your block is enriched. When your block is enriched, your community is enriched. When your community is enriched, the city is enriched. When it is enriched, the world becomes enriched and drenched in the power of love. And that's what I'm advocating, one love at a time. If we could just work on that one love at a time. And if that resonates with you, if that's something that you want more of, then you should be a part of our Love and Stuff community. Just simply click the notification button on the Love and Stuff community page on Facebook. Reach out to me on any of the other places and say, I want to be connected to love, and we will get you connected. So you will be on the journey to experience the amazing love that you've been called and commissioned into this world to experience and give. Have a grateful evening. I hope to see you Saturday with our friends Kamau and Felix, who love sports. Sports Talk with Kamau and Felix is an amazing show, and they have an amazing group. Shout out to them. Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we hope that you will join them. And if you don't even like sports, there might be, ladies, some man who does. And you need to learn a little bit about the sports that they love. And it's a way to connect with them. We will see you soon and talk to you soon. Thanks so much for being here tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.